Threads of Heritage. A Dream's Embrace. Alex stood at the threshold of his family's past, poised on the edge of discovery, his fingers brushing against the fragile corners of old letters and yellowing photographs. For years, he had been distanced from his heritage, tangled in the complex web of his American upbringing. But now, in the quiet corners of his study, the weight of his ancestors seemed to pull at him, urging him to connect the scattered pieces of his past. As the clock ticked softly in the background, Alex felt a flicker of curiosity deep within him. A curiosity that had grown over the years as his connection to his family's history had weakened. It wasn't until recently that he truly understood the significance of where he came from. Before, it had all seemed distant. Stories of Bulgaria, his grandpa George's escape across the Maritsa River, and his father's quiet pride in their immigrant roots had felt like little more than a distant echo. But now, those echoes were becoming voices, clear and loud, and Alex felt compelled to listen. It was in the summer of 2024, after receiving a package from his grandfather George, that Alex's quest began. The package contained old letters, a collection of photographs, and the most unexpected of treasures. A handwritten manuscript from his great-great-grandfather Georgie detailing his life. This was all they discovered at the old house on Khan Asparu Street in Sofia. That manuscript, locked away for nearly a century, would serve as the key to unlocking the story of a family and a history that Alex had never fully understood. The manuscript, weathered with age and fragile with time, was more than just a collection of words. It was directly linked to a past Alex had only ever heard about in fragments. It was the bridge between two worlds, one shaped by the harsh realities of Eastern Europe and one shaped by America's open, sprawling opportunities. For Alex, it felt like standing on the precipice of a great unknown, looking into a foreign and familiar history. He could almost feel Georgie's presence as he held the yellowed pages, as if his great-great-grandfather was beside him, whispering the stories that had been lost for so many years. The manuscript detailed the pain of the crossing, the sacrifice, and the ultimate desire for freedom that had driven generations of his family to leave their homeland. It was a story of struggle, resilience, love, and loss. But more than anything, it was a story Alex needed to hear. He sat at his desk, the manuscript pages spread out before him. Each line seemed to resonate with a personal urgency, a call to understand the forces that had shaped his family's destiny. The words were written with such clarity and raw emotion that Alex couldn't help but be drawn in. Georgie had written about his journey across the treacherous border, their brutal conditions, and the dreams of a better life that had kept him going through the darkest hours. For Alex, it was not just a historical account. It was a window into his soul, a map that led back to a place he had never visited but had always carried with him. The more he read, the more he realized that his ancestors' struggles were not just stories of the past. They were struggles that defined his own life, his own identity. As Alex immersed himself further in the manuscript, piecing together the fragments of his family's history, he encountered moments of internal conflict and doubt as the weight of the past began to challenge his sense of identity and purpose. Some truths challenged everything he had ever known about his identity, about his place in the world. He had spent many years running from the past, burying it under layers of modernity, convenience, and distraction. And now, faced with the raw truth of his family's experiences, Alex had no choice but to confront it. He found himself revisiting his own life choices, questioning how much of his identity was shaped by the past and how much by the present. Was he indeed an American, or was he still, at his core, a product of his Bulgarian roots? Could he embrace both sides of his heritage, or would he have to choose one over the other? These questions began to plague his mind, questions he had never considered before. As the days passed, Alex became more absorbed in the world that Georgie had left behind. The stories of hardship, loss, and triumph began to weave themselves into the fabric of his own life. He began to understand the depth of sacrifice his ancestors had made for their survival and future generations. It wasn't just about crossing a border or escaping from tyranny. It was about the belief in something greater than oneself, that a better life was possible and that the future could be shaped by today's decisions. As Alex read on, he felt a sense of connection to his ancestors that he had never experienced before. It was as if the pages of the manuscript were not just recounting the past, but were calling out to him, urging him to embrace his heritage to continue the legacy passed down through the generations. At that moment, Alex realized that his journey was a continuation of the journey his ancestors had started many years ago. He began to understand that his search for meaning, for identity, had been shaped by more than just his present experiences. It had been shaped by the dreams and sacrifices of those who had come before him. His family's history had never truly left him. It had always been there, waiting to be discovered, waiting for him to realize its significance. One evening, after a long day of reading, Alex sat down with a cup of tea and thought about how to proceed. He knew that his journey was far from over. There were still gaps in the family history, still questions left unanswered. But for the first time, he felt a sense of peace. The pieces were falling into place, and he was starting to understand what his great-great-grandfather had meant when he wrote, "We carry the weight of our ancestors, but it is not a burden, it is a privilege." The next day, Alex called his grandfather, George. He knew that George had lived through many of the same struggles, though from a different perspective. He wanted to share his discoveries and connect with them on a deeper level than they had ever had before. He wasn't sure what George would say, but he knew their bond had always been built on mutual respect and love.
"Grandpa," Alex said when George answered the phone, "I've been reading Captain Georgie's manuscript. I didn't realize how much we've all been through. I didn't realize how much our family has sacrificed."
George was silent momentarily, as if he were taking in the weight of Alex's words. "You're learning the truth now, aren't you?" he said softly.
Alex nodded, even though his grandfather couldn't see him. "Yes, I am. I understand now why it's so important for us to remember where we come from, to honor the legacy of those who fought for us to have a chance at a better life."
George's voice, filled with pride, echoed in the phone. "You're beginning to understand, Alex. It's not just about history. It's about understanding who we are, where we come from, and what we're willing to fight for. Our heritage is a part of us. It's in our blood, in our bones."
Alex could hear the emotion in his grandfather's voice. "I've always been proud of our family, but now I feel like I truly understand what that pride means. It's not just about bloodlines or names. It's about the strength of our ancestors, their courage, and their unwavering belief in a better future." As they continued to talk, Alex felt a sense of unity with his grandfather that he had never felt before. The gaps between their generations and their experiences seemed to shrink. At that moment, they were not just grandfather and grandsons. They were two men bound by blood and history, walking together on the same path, one that would carry their family's legacy forward into the future. And so, Alex's journey continued. He knew he would never fully understand everything that had shaped his family's past, but he also knew that with every step he took, he was becoming more and more connected to that past. His heritage, once a distant and abstract concept, had now become a part of his soul. And with that connection, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose that would carry him forward into the unknown future with the strength of his ancestors behind him. As Alex closed the manuscript that night, he felt the weight of history and the promise of the future pressing gently against his heart. He had found his place, not just in the world, but within his family's story. And as long as he carried that story with him, he knew he would never be truly lost. As the days passed, Alex's mind spun in a relentless cycle. What had begun as a simple curiosity about his family's history was slowly becoming an obsession, a powerful, almost magnetic force, pulling him more profoundly into the past. The more he pored over Georgie's manuscript, the more he felt an overwhelming urgency to share this history with the world, to amplify the voices of his ancestors whose struggles had long been forgotten. He realized these stories were not mere artifacts of a bygone era. They were alive, pulsating with lessons and strength that transcended time. They weren't just relics. They were blueprints for a better tomorrow. Sitting by his desk late one evening, the dim light casting long shadows on the walls, Alex could almost feel the weight of the manuscript in his hands growing heavier. His mind was drawn to the realization that his great-great-grandfather, who had crossed treacherous borders, fought for his freedom, and dreamed of a future free from oppression, was no different from him in many ways. Alex wasn't fighting a physical battle, but an internal one. A struggle to reclaim his identity and find his place in his current chaotic world. As he read Georgie's words, Alex felt an unsettling question echo through his thoughts. Am I truly living the life they wanted for me? The question gnawed at him, stirring a mixture of doubt and realization. For many years, he had considered himself a self-made man, driven by ambition and personal success. But now, as the threads of his family's past slowly wove into his consciousness, he saw the truth he had been avoiding. His success was not alone. It was built upon the sacrifices of his ancestors, who had fought to survive and carve out a life for the next generation. The dreams they had for a better life had fueled his own aspirations. Now, Alex realized that true success was not about individual accomplishments. It was about carrying forward the legacy of those who had fought hard to create it. His mind drifted to his family, his parents, who had provided for him without complaint, and especially his wife, Elizabeth. She had always been the grounding force in his life, patient and understanding. Even when Alex was too preoccupied to truly engage with those closest to him, Elizabeth had long urged him to connect with his roots and honor the struggles and sacrifices that shaped him into the man he is today. And as Alex began to understand the weight of that wisdom, he realized that her perspective was more than just advice. It was the truth he had been blind to for so long. His journey was not simply about forging his own path. It was about understanding the broader narrative to which he belonged, about finding himself within a much larger story. With Georgie's manuscript now in his hands, Alex knew he could no longer keep this hidden part of his life in the shadows. The weight of the past was too great, too significant to be forgotten. He had to share it. He had to make sure that the sacrifices and resilience of his ancestors weren't lost to the ages. The escape of Georgie, his trials, and his strength during immense adversity were not just relics of history. They were the foundation of Alex's existence. He could no longer allow them to gather dust in some forgotten corner of the world. The lessons contained within those pages, Alex realized, weren't just for him. They were for everyone. But as the pressure to do justice to Georgie's story mounted, Alex was paralyzed by doubt. He had spent so many years pushing away his heritage, pretending that the past didn't matter. Now, faced with writing it down, he questioned how he could do it justice. How could he encapsulate so much pain and sacrifice into something that would resonate with the world? He spent hours hunched over the manuscript, reading and rereading the words, hoping to find the right way to convey the depth of his ancestors' experiences. It was more than just writing a book. It was about preserving a legacy, honoring it with every keystroke. But it wasn't just the writing that plagued him. There were other doubts about how his family would receive this work. His parents, especially, had never been ones to look back. They had focused on the future, creating a better life than they had left behind in Bulgaria. They had never fully embraced the weight of their history, always looking forward instead. Would they understand why this project mattered so much to him? Would they appreciate the need to preserve this piece of their past? Or would they see it as an unnecessary dive into the past? As these thoughts continued to swirl in his mind, Alex felt a deep connection to his grandfather, George, who had lived through many hardships and understood the value of family history better than anyone. Their conversations had always been filled with love, but now they felt like something more profound, something rooted in shared understanding. George had always shared stories of their family's journey, of the sacrifices they had made to build a future in the United States. Still, now, Alex understood those stories on an entirely different level.
Grandpa, Alex said one afternoon when they spoke again, I've been thinking about something. I want to write a book about Georgie. His story needs to be told, and I want to honor the legacy he created for us. It's time we preserve our family's history.
There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line before George's voice cracked with emotion. "Alex," he said softly, "that's a wonderful idea. It's about time someone remembered the sacrifices our family made. Georgie's story isn't just one of survival, it's a story of hope. It's a story of a better future."
Alex felt a surge of pride and relief at his grandfather's words. At that moment, the task seemed lighter, but as the conversation continued, Alex couldn't shake the question haunting him. How could he do justice to such a rich, complex story? How could he capture the essence of his great-great-grandfather's journey, the strength, the pain, the triumph, in a way that would resonate with the world? As Alex sat in front of his desk, surrounded by photographs and family letters, he realized that the task wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about writing the perfect book. It was about writing the truth. It was about honoring the reality of their journey, the highs and lows, the complexities of being human. His family's history wasn't just about victory or defeat, but everything in between. It was about resilience, survival, and the bonds that tied them all together, no matter where they came from or where they ended up. And so, with newfound clarity and resolve, Alex began to write. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but it was something that needed to be done. It wasn't just the story of his family. It was the story of everyone who had struggled for a better life and fought for freedom and dignity in the face of adversity. It was about ensuring that their sacrifices were never forgotten. With each word, Alex felt more connected to the past. He was uncovering parts of himself he never knew existed, rediscovering his heritage, and honoring the legacy of those who had made it possible for him to live the life he had today. The journey had been long, but Alex was ready to write the story, share it with the world, and carry his ancestors' legacy forward for them and future generations.